Hello and welcome to the BB Disney Animal Kingdom cast assessment. I am Seb.
Could you sound any less enthusiastic about this?
Hello and welcome to BB Disney's Animal Kingdom's cast assessment. My name is Seb. We're here with Madison, Brien, and one of our after show hosts, Jackson LaMar. Say hi, y'all.
Hi.
Hi.
Hey, we might also be joined by our other production members, Timmy and Maynor, and potentially Justin as well. So if they hop on in the middle, that's who they are.
Yes. Okay. So, if for some odd reason you've never seen a cast assessment before, we are going to go through the 16 people playing BB Disney Animal Kingdom, and we're going to talk about how well we think they're going to do. So, Madison, do you have a list?
Nope, sure don't.
Okay. Do you want to just,
Off the top of our heads.
send me the 10? Yeah. Okay. So, I guess we'll start with the first person that's I don't know. We'll start with Livingston because he's the first person that popped in my head. So, anyone want to start?
Nobody wants to start.
He's meh. Yeah, I think he has like potential though to like maybe be irrelevant like 8th placer. He'll be on the jury, I think. And like that's my prediction. He'll get to the jury phase, he'll get voted out, he'll be like a pawn and go home. I don't think he'll ever like win any power in this game. But yeah.
Livingston has always told me to never draft him in orgs, and I don't know if it's a good thing or a bad thing. But I didn't listen to him. I drafted him. So this is the part where he probably, gets backdoor like week 1 or something like that. Now, from what I'm told, he seems to be well connected with a lot of people that I'm following. I'm not in every project. So, but from the projects that I have seen, his name has come up in a positive light. So I think right now he's not an early boot. But at the same time, I don't know what his future holds because of it.
Valid. Also, for context of people watching this, we are filming this right after the first nomination ceremony. So that's where we're at in the game, and that's as much context as we have when we're talking about your games. Like as a member of Prod, I am unbiased. I have to support my boyfriend. I hope he does well. But Livingston is a very, very social player, and I feel like this is a very, very social cast. And I think that could be really good for him, or it could be really bad for him, depending on if people like really tie him into these connections. But I feel like he's doing a good job at separating from the people that he's assumed to be connected to and really bonding with people outside of those groups. And I think that will benefit him in the long run. But we shall see.
Yeah, so like Livingston's doing a good job bonding with his team. He was chosen by Kevin, which I think was out of the 4 returnees, I think was like my third choice to choose him. But he's on Kevin's team. He's doing well. I worry because both him and Billy, who we'll talk about later, is getting super close with Julia, and I at least from my eyes, it like Julia is telling both Billy and him that she wants to go to the end with them, and it's not a final 3, it's a final 2. So at the end of the day, like, and plus Livingston's openly expressed that he's not talking to Billy as much in this game because of the fact that people are going to pair them together, which could be a downfall if it's an all game or at least most of the game type situation where he chooses not to talk to Billy. But overall, he's doing well socially. He's one of those people who will be on calls with people for like 2 hours on end, and they're really good conversations based on the recordings that Livingston sends us. So I have high hopes. I can see him definitely making early jury. And I know he always says oh, I can't win comps, but I've seen him win comps. Like he could win power. It's just a matter of how will he use that power.
See, I think the issue with him comes in similar to me, where he's not consistent physically and not consistent in comps. So I think the issue comes in as minimizing his threat level and maintaining a low threat level, because once he starts getting targeted, I don't think he has the consistent comp prowess to stay off the block and to win power and to kind of clean the slate a little bit, so I don't know. I'm nervous about that, but fingers crossed.
I think he's gonna have to rely on his social game most part. But interesting to me, Seb, is you mentioned that he wasn't gonna talk to Billy, and I get like what his thinking is, but like also my thought process in that would be if they're already thinking they're gonna be close together, why if it's only a one-on-one chat, why not actually be close and like they're best friends? So like why is he blocking that bridge off when people are gonna assume it anyway? I just don't understand that. But I think he can do well, but his social game, he's gonna have to rely heavily on that.
No, agree with everything that Brian just said. He just needs to rely on his social and strategic prowess because he's not consistent enough to win challenges. He could have his his specific niche maybe, but it's not going to come around like every time for him.
Unfortunately, Pac-Man is not a competition this season.
No,
So
no Pac-Man for my man. No Pac-Man. I was pretty sad to hear about that. But so I wonder how he's going to adapt because now he has to think, okay, he can't win every challenge, but he could kind of, get rid of some of the challenge threats in the season. And looking at this cast, there's quite a few challenge threats in this season. So I want to know how he's going to try to maneuver that, if he's going to try to maneuver that at all, or if he's just going to go with the flow. If it goes with the flow, then I think it's going to be early to mid jury. If he could control that flow and really do well, then that's like more like that's a threat of winning right there. So I want to see how he can controls who goes home and is it for the right reasons, which is, how big of a competitor they are.
Yeah, I think like Livingston has reached a level of like not importance, that's a bad word, but like
a level of prestige, if you will.
Prestige, yeah, as prestige, where like no matter how he goes in the game, it's going to be considered as a big move. It's just a matter of can he keep that like level low? I know Livingston, he tries to change his game every time, but he sticks with the one thing that he knows, which is downplay his game level. He does it a lot. In the game in Room Limit when I hosted him, he did it. He downplayed his level, made sure people knew that he wasn't the strongest competitor. There was always people in front of him. And he's doing well right now. Like he's working, like I said, like he's getting closer to Julia and Megan, like people who are like more comp threat ish. And it's working for him now. I'm just hoping it can work for him later.
I think that's enough about the golden rat.
The golden rat.
If no one else has anything to say on Livingston, I would like to choose the next person, unless you have a list, Madison.
Nope.
Brian,
okay,
go
I would
for it.
like to go on to Lake. I really like Lake. I know he's the Alabama sensation, of course, and I would have to say he's my winner pick this season. He could go down in flames, but I really like him and enjoy his personality, and I think he has the social chops to do it. And if he can use his social chops to make the right strategic moves that are beneficial for his game, he can go really far. And I think if he can win a few comps at the end, he can use his social strategic game to get far. And then at Big Brother, sometimes comps come down to the importance at the end. He can maybe win some comps at the end. And he's my winner pick. I just love the Alabama sensation. And he's my pick.
Period. Come on, Lake is Brian's winner pick.
Honestly, that's shocking. I gotta agree with that winner pick though. That's like that Lake is somebody that could do something and do something well. If he's not the winner, he's gonna do something. He's gonna have like one or two episodes where he's like the guy, And I completely agree. That's another thing I worry about Lake is his reliance with Harry. How's that relationship going to continue? How's that going to work? Obviously in the first round, we see them already talking a little bit, which, I mean, it's fine. I mean, they know each other anyway, so might as well just talk anyway. Right. But is it going to be like a dependent thing, or is it going to be like a base level and then where you could build up more relationships, if that makes sense? If he's dependent, then I worry because that gets predictable. But I do like his odds because he is social and he is a physical threat. So, yeah.
Lake is Lake. So like Lake usually does well in the social, but like I think kind of like I think like everyone here except for like a certain few because they're new in the community have a reputation. Like Lake's reputation is like that loud, funny, goofy guy, and he showed it in Prestige. He showed it in his Prestige intro. He even showed it in like the Disney intro. Even joking around, being like, when I played Prestige, I was regarded as having the worst intro in org history, and I think he's really like hammering in this like, oh, like I'm just your goofy guy. He he did well like for getting punched in the eye uh the other night. He did super well in the music video, like um at least did as well as he could for getting punched in the eye.
I was gonna say, let's not say he did super well in the music video. That's a stretch.
Did as well as he could with a black eye.
That's valid.
Okay. But
Poor
I think
guy.
I want to agree with Brien, but I just can't. I see him getting further in the game, but I don't see him like winning. Like I see him like getting like around his like Prestige placement of like 7th.
Yeah,
Hey, Maynor.
honestly, I don't see. Oh, hi, Maynor. Yay. I don't see Lake getting super duper far in the game. Unfortunately, I just don't. Just based off of who we have playing, and I feel like depending on who wins power, he may rub some people in this cast the wrong way with the energy that he brings. But Lake is literally like you guys said, like it's such a caricature of himself in so many ways. Like he's so extreme and is so over dramatic, and I live for every moment of it. I think that I think that Lake and Harry is definitely something to watch out for, and I think people are gonna assume that really quickly. And I feel like the fact that they're both kind of playing into it might be bad for them down the road, especially if they get caught in it. But this early on with so many connections, like I don't think he's playing a bad game. I think he's staying pretty under the radar for as intense as he normally is, or at least from what I've seen. So like, at least for this round, it seems like he's doing pretty well. Stan Lake, love the Alabama sensation.
Maynor and Timmy, we're talking about Lake. If we also talked on him once, if you guys want to.
For Lake.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think he could be like a late pre-jury evictee or like very early jury. Because I haven't seen much how he plays. I just saw him in the experiment. People turned on him quickly because they caught just how he rubbed people, just like how he was like cocky. If he like stays under the radar for like in the beginning, I think he should be good. But he does have the heat from warning people about Julia, and Julia has like connection, so he might get in trouble with that, depending if Julia gets power.
For me personally, Lake has not impressed me thus far because he's not really like alliancing it up. And I know he just got hit in the eye, but his performance in that music video was absolutely an atrocity. He had the worst reviews of everyone for individual scores, just overall not doing it for me so far. So he can honestly probably get pre-jury, and I wouldn't be surprised at all if not like first boot juror.
I think we all have different opinions on Lake, and it's interesting. And I guess we'll see how the rest of the game plays out. But I don't think he's at least going to be the first boot. I don't think he's someone that John F has on his radar.
Facts. Anything else on Lake? All right, who's next? We've kind of just been calling it out. So does somebody want to name our next person?
I'm going to go with Danny, if like that's fine.
Sure, we'll go with Danny. I don't really know Danny. I know now that Danny knows a few people in this cast and does have some connections, which is good. Danny really sold it in the music video. Like that music video was not it, but in terms of like individual performances, I thought Danny really did deliver for them. But now Danny is on the block, and I think it's just because like I assume it's just because he hasn't been around as much. But from what I've heard, John F didn't have the best conversations with most people, so I don't really know what that's based on, and I'm interested to see how like the comp prowess comes out here if it exists. But I don't know Danny well, so I'll let somebody else take over.
So I know Danny from Twitter. We had met doing a few Twitter minis, and I was talking to him like I like was like, hey, I'm hosting or not like I'm helping with an org, like, you know, come apply. And I didn't think he was gonna apply, and then he did. And I thought his interview was spectacular. He is someone that I'm worried about because, you know, the transition from playing minis to long-term orgs is a very tough one. We've seen it before, like in season 2 with Kevin and a bunch of other people in this community. But Danny's getting the hang of it. He is on the block. And I'm hoping that that can like, I'm hoping that like, you know, he seems very social. Like he gives me very social king vibes. Like he knows what he wants in the game, and he's mentioned it multiple times in his prod chat. I want to say he's going far, but like I also like if this is going to be the route where like because people don't know Danny too well, they throw him on the block. Like I I want to say like maybe like last pre-juror.
I kind of want to like echo that sentiment said. I was thinking Les Preacher as well, as unfortunate as it sounds, because I do like him. I am rooting for him, and hopefully he can prove me wrong. But if people don't know him, they're just going to keep throwing him on the block. And there's a reason. There has to be at least one reason that he's on the block this week for week 1. So I hope Danny. But people, and upside to him, people have expressed. I think it was Megan or maybe a few other people, if I remember correctly, have expressed interest in like keeping him this week or not wanting him to go. And I think the 3 nominees, if 3 nominees do stay on the block, will benefit him because usually in Big Brother, when there are 3 nominees, one usually sits between the other 2. I think Danny could be that one this week that sits. I'm hoping that for him. I don't want him to be a first boot in his first long-term game. So I'm thinking like last preacher to like echo what Seb was thinking.
Yeah, I'm one of those people that don't know Danny well, but with a cast like this where there's way too many past connections in terms of friend groups, in terms of past org experiences, in terms of people just having like a big name like in the Skype community, it's tough to not be a target just by not being known. You know, like why would John F put up like a Julia or a Livingston when those two are like one of the bigger names like in this game, you know, or like Billy? Those are just like some of the few that come up to the top of the mind right now. But it's tough to be in his position. But we have heard that there is interest of keeping him, so that's always, you know, a good thing. But he's gonna get the nomination treatment, isn't he? Until he wins something and proves like he's a little useful, he's just gonna keep being on the block. I think he's just gonna be a preacher. Is it gonna be a late preacher? I don't even know. It's like, what happens if he's like nominated against somebody with a big name, like I said, like Julia?
Well, that's the thing that I think is so interesting, that like John F putting up people like Lyndon and Danny who aren't as connected, when John F is really somebody who isn't as connected, like other than like some connections with Room Limit, but really the only like strong connection he has coming into this is Julia. So like I don't see why some of the less connected people aren't getting together and being like, hey, there's a lot of friends here. Maybe we should like look out for each other and be friends.
I wonder if they just simply don't know that they're friends.
I think a lot of them do. So I'm interested to see how that plays out and see if that like becomes something, if there becomes like kind of like a separate side of people that aren't as intertwined, or how sides break out with who is connecting.
But even Danny himself is not void of connections. He knows Marcelo, I believe, and Kevin. So he has some people.
Yeah, he does know Kevin, therefore like a lot of Kevin's people. So
Yes, we'll keep an eye on that. If like a no connection forums. But at the moment, it doesn't seem like anything of the sort is happening.
No.
Uh,
Anything else on Danny, besties?
I will say he did have the second highest score and almost got the Tree of Life powers. So at least we
Oh,
know he's
wow.
dedicated. He literally missed out on it by 3 points.
Oh, damn.
So I
Good
mean,
for
like
him.
he's dedicated. So I mean, if he can get in the right position, I mean, there's like hope for him.
Yeah,
Mhm.
and he does seem really excited about this season and enthusiastic. So hopefully he doesn't lose that, because I think that motivation could like kind of carry him.
I agree.
I hope this week 1 nomination doesn't discourage him, like as it could if like he was in the wrong mindset.
For sure. Love his energy though. Just as a human being, seems lovely. Glad to meet him because
I
of this.
agree. So if no one has anything else to say on Danny, we can. Is no one else? We can move on to the next person. If you,
Sure.
I'll choose Mike if that's okay with y'all. And I really want. I was thinking about the alliance that almost came to be of Room Limits. That's why I wanted to address him. And he's playing messy so far this game, and it's funny to watch, entertaining. But I just don't know if he's long for the game. I like him really much as a person, so it's disappointing to see. But he will give us funny moments, and I'm glad we cast him. But for me personally, I think he's gonna be pre jury. I don't. If he makes it to the jury, it'll surprise me. But
Don't
you're
say
quick.
that.
You're whatever you said.
Okay,
Oh, go on.
so Mike is confusing me. So Mike has been waiting to play Animal Kingdom since he didn't get in to Epcot, and you could definitely tell he has the energy. He's putting it forth in there, and the problem is he's being too hard on himself because of it. Like he wants to play, and when things aren't going his way, he is getting frustrated, which is valid because that's the way that you feel in the game. But like I don't think the frustration is coming out in the right way. Like he was very frustrated that his team got last place in the music video comp, and it didn't come off correctly. Like he was like, I'm just upset that y'all didn't use more of my lip sync clips and stuff like that. Which like I don't know how they took it because they didn't react to it in their projects. But like if I was reading something like that, it's like what do you mean? Like
why do you shade the editor in a music video comp? That's
exactly.
never smart. They have the most work. You be happy with whatever it is.
Exactly. And I know like Mike is a little upset about the whole EXP thing. Mike said that he talked it over with Kevin, so hopefully they're a little cooled off, but it like the added tension that was brought into the game, and people are using it against Mike and Kevin. Billy, who had won the Predator power, he put up Kevin because he knew that Kevin would immediately assume that it was Mike, which he did. So Billy got what he wanted.
I don't think he did. If I remember correctly, like Mike was like, "That was not me." He just wanted to nip it in the bud.
Yeah, but like I know, like Kevin, like Kevin was like, "Oh, I'm not shocked that the person did this," like insinuating that it was Mike who did it, because Billy's whole plan was that he was gonna put Kevin up, and then Kevin was gonna think that it was just a last minute thing that Mike did because he was voted out of the XP. But Mike, I know, can win comps. If he puts himself in a decent position, like right now he's being messy with like making groups of 3 with everyone. But if he gets himself in a good position, he could win, like kind of win out, to be honest. Like if he's in the right position, like he has the ability to win comps. I know he has the ability to be social. Like I know he has the ability to use like a game mind. It's just like he has to have a good start in order to get a good ending. Like, and that's what I'm hoping for. I think Mike can at least make it to like second or third juror, but that's like the furthest I could see right now, at least based on the game I've seen.
Right now, it's so tough. It's the meltdown after the nominations didn't help. Obviously, Mike and Kevin talked it out. I'm sure they bro hugged it out. But according to the rest of the Disney cast, that tension, that argument happened. Like there's there's not just no blow it over for the next day or something like that. Like that now exists, and now that's now going to get counted against Mike, and that's what I really fear for him. And you mentioned before he's trying to make those groups of 3 with a lot of people, which in theory sounds good. There's some people that are starting to catch on to it. Like there's a lot of people that are like, yeah, I think Mike's making a group of 3 with me soon, and I'm pretty sure he made one with these people. I'm sure he's gonna make one with Lake and Harry, et cetera, et cetera. And his social game's starting to get exploited, and that could be a good reason to vote somebody out if he were to be nominated. And for having like a meltdown like that, not a meltdown, but an argument and a tense moment like that, that's sometimes all it takes. So it's not a hot start. It's really not a hot start for Mike. I'm gonna have to side with Brien on this one, Seb. I know you disagree with it, but it's probably a pre-juror boot for me.
I also unfortunately see Mike getting pre-jury here. I think just based off of everything that's going on, like either Mike is going to get used as a pawn or a shield at this point, because people are either going to use the comp prowess to their advantage and try to get on his good side and hide behind him, or he's just going to get put up until he goes. And I don't think he'll last very long just based on how he's handling his social game. And I think people are just aware that he's trying to be too connected too fast. He's playing too hard too fast. And because so many people are aware of his potential threat level down the road, they'll just take the opportunity to take him out early if they can. And I think like either way, the narrative is going to get pushed that it's him versus Kevin. And I think that could have been easily avoidable. And I think a lot of that could have been downplayed this season if they hadn't been so obvious about it, like both of them, but especially Mike. And I know that he's been so excited to play this season, and like Zeb was talking about, he's taken a lot of this to heart. And like with the music video, like he's been sending me Snapchats about practicing for Disney music videos for like months now. So like the poor guy, I know he's upset about it. But at the end of the day, like you can only do what you can do, and I hope he knows that trying his best is all we ask for, and we love him no matter what. But that's a king. I hope he does well, but unfortunately I just don't see much of a path for him at this time.
Oh, I absolutely love Mike. Love Mike so much. Like he's like one of my top favorite people of all time right now. And this
He's a golden boy. He
is a golden boy. It's true.
For me, as a human being, Mike seems, I don't really know him that well, but he seems super sweet. On a game level, I just feel like he's not doing himself a single favor anywhere. He's like, oh, I could be in an okay position. Let me just fuck that up real quick. Like he was very upset with I think with Lyndon edited the video, right? Very upset with Lyndon for not including clips that added like they could have put those clips anywhere in the music video and it would have added nothing to the video because it made no fucking sense. That whole video, there was no point for a lightsaber battle in the middle of a Strangers Like Me video, which comes from Tarzan. Like it makes no sense. And so for him to get upset with Lyndon, you can do the coolest thing, but if it doesn't make sense to the music video, it's not worth putting in there. I remember season 1, we had Liam stripping in the middle of the Fabulous music video, and everybody was kind of like, why? Like, if it doesn't make sense, don't add it. He's making a bunch of Final 3 chats, and everyone's talking about it in a negative light. Everyone's like, he's making Final 3 chats. He's making Final 3 chats. And on top of that, like, I hate to bring outside stuff into it, but recently I've noticed Mike is leaving chats every other day and being added back and then leaving and then being added back and then leaving. And I know, and I'm in other chats where people are like, that's annoying. So I am nervous that by him doing some of these actions outside of the game might just make people who don't know him not want to get to know him, unfortunately.
Well, maybe he can prove us all wrong and end up being the winner of the season. Who knows?
I hope, because that is a king.
That's like a perfect story right there. You know, like you spent all that time preparing and like you won. But I think like, yeah, like I'm leaning towards like first juror, last pre-juror, like around that. But yeah, who's the next person?
I was thinking about the current HOH, John F. If you guys want to address him.
Train wreck.
Timmy, how about you start?
I just I called Madison on the way home from work and I said, "Who all did John F talk to today?" And she goes, "Nobody." And I said, "So from a prod perspective, he's chaotic and we like to see it, but like from a player standpoint, he's not doing anything to help himself." I mean, like when I won first HOH, I was like, let's make some deals. Like, let's set myself up for the rest of the game, not let's piss off like the whole. Like, I saw everyone at the project like, John didn't talk to me. John didn't talk to me. John left me on red. Like,
Well, and like to not tell your week 1 noms that they're going up. Like Lyndon didn't know. Lyndon found out from Ruthie. Why do you not tell people they're going on the block before they go up?
period.
I love John. But he's like the perfect definition of like a game bot, but not like he's like full on game bot. It's not like there's like not a single social bone in his body. All it is for him is game. It's I play the game. I make sure I'm better in the game. But in order for him, especially his first HOH, he should be talking to these people. He's just assuming that because people are coming to him, that he's going to be in a good position the next few weeks. I mean, this is like Michael Barton in season 2. Like, I feel like he's playing the exact same HOH that Michael Barton did, and it might cause him to go next week if the wrong person is HOH. Like, that's how I'm feeling right now. Like, if we're looking at purely game, like, these noms are smart because they're like people that like he hasn't connected well with. But at the same time, he didn't let Lyndon know. He didn't let Danny know. There's a chance Kevin goes home. Like, he might be fucked.
Mm-hmm.
I was gonna address because he kind of did handle the predator comp kind of correctly, because like he said in VLDR, like, "Hey, shout out to the predator for giving me Kevin as a potential ally." But I mean, of course, Kevin first boo meme is always in effect. And I understand like that's a danger, but I hope that he takes that and kind of runs with it. Like, hey, I wasn't gonna put you up at any point, but we know he doesn't talk to too many people at all. Seb, I agree. I was gonna say that is a game bot and a half right there.
I wonder if he think. Also, I'm sorry to cut you off, LaMar, but I was wondering, like, I don't know if it was him or somebody made that 4-person chat where it was like the 4 people were supposed to be working together, right? If I remember correct, the 4 people that were supposed to be potential HOHs. That's the
Yes, the Mikey, John C, John F, and Danny.
Danny, and he nominated one of them, which was very confusing to me. I was like, what? So that's like, why? It's like,
yeah, so one of the potential HOHs went out of their way to be like, hey, let's just make sure that like we're safe. And John did not do that. Like,
so it's like it's very confusing gameplay to me. But maybe if the right person gets HOH, he might be safe for like a week or 2. But unfortunately, I don't see him making it past that. It was once the wrong person wins power, or he don't save himself by winning a competition, he'll be out of here. Because I don't think if he's a final nominee, he'll have the social capital to stay against most people.
Also, it's unfortunate he didn't do anything with his HOH because looking at his team's music video, which that was one of the best music videos I have ever seen, and I give 0 credit of it to John because I don't remember anything John did in that video versus everything that the other 3 did. So I think John really needed to do a lot with his HOH, and he did.
John knows how to put cups in between his hands. He
I
did that
literally
once.
was gonna say I remember the cups between his hands.
I feel like Megan did so much, Julia did so much. Who else is on that team?
Casper.
Casper did so much. Like Casper literally did flips. Megan ran in place to big fun. Julia literally directed the whole thing, and then John played with cups. So you just had the weakest part in the music video, and you did nothing with your HOH. I mean, come on, sis.
I mean, we always have a renom, but like with the way he's trying, like talking about his HOH in his prod chat, it seems like he's just gonna throw up another person who doesn't talk to him, and it's like he could do something with his HOH. I don't know, deals, making alliances, making sure he's in a good position, at least until jury, but he's not doing that. He's leaving multiple people on red. Not to as a player, I know he gives 110, but he always like if he's put up against the wrong person or the wrong person's HOH, he goes. That's what happened in Room Limit, and that's what's gonna happen here. Like
It's okay.
Yeah, he might be. I think he might be leaning on to his connection with Julia a little too much. Because yeah, I think if someone wins Predator, they could easily just nom him and then he gets taken out. He did mention like getting frustrated with Billy talking to him and having him maybe backdoored. But yeah, I don't think he's making any connections with anyone, and he broke the trust with the other 3 potential HOHs. I mean, the one ally, Kevin, could be going home this round too, so he won't really have Kevin if he goes this round.
I agree completely with John. I don't think he's long for the game, unfortunately. But if no one else has anything to say on John F, I would like to move on to the next John, John C, if we were to knock out both of them back to back. John C, John Coffey, more. I actually really I love him as a person, and I think he is a good he's a good balanced player from my experience and knowledge of him, and just looking at him so far. I know he can win comps because I've seen him do it before in other games. I know he's good socially. He can be, and I think he's a good strategic mind for the game. So, but he's not like a master. He's a master of none, but he's a jack of all trades. So I think he's potentially long for the game. I had John go into final 5. That's my prediction for him. John Coffey, not yet. So John Coffey, I think I'm really rooting for him. I like him a lot. So I want to see him do well, and I think he will with the position he's put himself in so far.
yeah, I like John Coffey is someone I could see like going super far in this game. Like I said, like you said, Brien, he's like a jack of all trades. I've like seen him do super well in all 3 areas when I've watched him play before, and it's like he is someone that like when we casted him, I was originally nervous. I thought he was going to be like a Justin, but he's putting himself in a really good position without like immediately being with the big threats. Like he's making sure that he's good with everyone, but not like directly good. Like he's not like jumping into alliances right away. Like he's just making sure he's talking to people, which is good. And I think like an HOH could put him in really good power. It's just a matter of if it can happen. I could see it happening though.
I think an HOH would only strengthen his game. Like whenever he gets it, if he plays it right and he can solidify the relationships he has. I just really like the guy. So plus a fellow stoner, so I got to root for him.
Love him.
Sadly, I don't know too much about John. It's my first time seeing him. I'm not even his project. Good news is he's not being talked about negatively. He's not on the radar at the moment. So that's for someone like that. That's all you could really ask for. So I'm gonna take Brian's word for it because Brien seems to know him the best. I'm gonna say.
Well, Madison and Maynor haven't talked yet, but I know him
dipped
fairly
for
well.
a minute. Who are we talking about?
John Coffey.
Coffee.
Oh, period. I don't know that king very well. But from what I've seen, an icon, it seems like he's setting himself up decently well. Pretty under the radar so far this round, but that's not a bad place to be this early on in the game. I think, like staying away from all of the like major connections and stuff like that happen really early game, because especially when they're all getting leaked as much as I feel like they are so far. I think it's definitely not a bad place to be to just kind of like watch but he's definitely still staying connected. I haven't heard people talk about him negatively, so I'm hopeful.
Another thing I want to mention about John Coffey, I believe it was him and his project. I know you can't see LaMar. Sorry, he said that he only knew like 3 people coming in this game, I believe, 3 or 4, which in org standards is not a lot because you go into games if you're experiencing so many people, which this cast is mostly. So I think in games like if you know less people, like the other connections will try to take each other out. Like I think he could like really blend in well, and I think he's done a good job of that so far. So I'm rooting for the king. And if no one else has anything to say on John Coffey, I know I spoke a lot about him. We can move on to the next person if you're cool with that. I was thinking of Marcelo, first one that came to mind.
He's so nice.
I love Marcelo with all of my heart. That's my fucking bestie. Marcelo's energy is absolutely fucking unmatched. I think the only thing that Marcelo needs to worry about is minimizing like the threat level early on, because I think some people are definitely wary of him as a threat later on, but I think he's definitely an easy like float to jury. I see him getting like hopefully somewhere like late jury. I see Marcelo like maybe winning if he can get that far, just based off the fact like that people will want him and will recognize that he's beneficial to their games. And I think just the energy that he brings is so infectious and everybody loves it.
Having that type of energy is such a fucking weapon. And like it plays everybody because everyone's like, oh, I fucking love Marcelo. You know, he's always nice, he's funny, you know, he's always saying these things, he's always like reacting in a positive way. And like later like with that type of like, energy and that type of attitude, he's gonna be in a lot of groups because of it. Because everyone's going, yeah, I like Marcelo. We get along well. He gets along well with everybody. Like he's just that type of person. Like he's probably one of the more dominant social players we're seeing at the moment. Yeah, people are kind of recognize him as a threat, but at the same time, like there's some people like again that aren't as connected. They're thinking like, hey, Marcelo's pretty cool. I want to work with him, and sometimes that's all he needs. Not the greatest in the competition standards. I mean, we did see that puzzle. It did take him a little bit to get what was it like 17%. So I hope like that was just not his strength, because I feel like he could do well. I'm playing at org with him right now as well, so I can't say too much, but I do love that person.
We'll see this way after your org is over, I'm sure. So, but to kind of piggyback off of what you're saying, LaMar, you can't not like Marcelo. Like he just lights up the room, whichever room he's in. It's like kind of what Madison was saying. He's gonna like get to the jury at least, I would think, based on a social game alone. Unless the only thing people could clock him for being so social, which is like. But even if he goes on the block, unless there's a majority alliance against him, I can't see the majority of people evicting him. I think he's set up really well in this game to make a deep, deep run, barring anybody like he might not be able to win the game because if he can't win the comps at the end stretch, like gotta play on the social game, which is strong, but could like if your social game's that strong, people could recognize it and you could be a jury threat late game. So I don't see him winning, but I can see him making it like 7th or 6th, and that's like at least in my opinion.
So I think Marcelo is going to have the Pete effect, So Marcelo has not made jury in a Big Brother game in a while. He said it in his interview that he wants to play because he's played so many Big Brother games and he keeps getting like 3rd or 4th boot because or as Marcelo says it, he breathes. So I think that Marcelo could do super well in this cast, especially there's a lot of people who are gonna be like, I want Marcelo to make jury. I want to at least see Marcelo make it that far, and then whatever happens. But I think the problem is that if they take Marcelo that far, there's a chance he's already in a good social position and he can make it to at least final 6. It's just a matter of will Marcelo be able to put himself in that position, or will he be too worried about making it to jury? I know he mentioned in his interview, he wants to make jury. He's worried about how he keeps making pre-jury in games. I think this could be the game. I definitely do. I see good things for him.
Anything else on Marcelo?
If we can move on, if no one else has anything else to say, we can move on to the next person I'm thinking of. I'm sorry to take over this, but like, if it's all I'm thinking of, like certain people. I didn't mean to take over, but thinking of Casper. Casper is an icon. I love him. I just love this cast so much. I'm rooting for so many people, but it's so hard to pick. But Casper, I think, is going to be the Rob third placer, who would win if he gets to the end, and that's great because I don't want to say Casper. I don't want to see Casper lose, but I think like he'll do so well to make it that far. So I'm rooting for him. He's very social. People already are like, I like Casper's energy. I like Casper's vibe. I want to work with him. So I think he can attract a lot of people. Use the social connections he has to benefit his strategic game. Make the moves that that's the only thing with him. Like, I know he has a good social game, but will he be able to like figure out what moves will benefit him at this right time? You know, the strategic game is the only question mark for me with him. But I'm hope that he can figure it out.
Casper is probably the one of two people that I'm very excited about. Because I think Casper has we have another social game that's really strong here, that's really present. But I'm very excited for Casper because we see a connection early with Billy. Billy has a good presence in competitions and like has a good strategic mind on his shoulders. And Casper, although it can win the challenges, can have a good strategic mindset. I think them together could really complement each other and become like a good power duo right now. Right now they're vibing. Right now they're talking. They are talking to each other a lot, and that's like a duo that I didn't expect to be made, but was made nonetheless. And honestly, I think it complements them both, which is why I'm very excited for it. But in terms of just Casper alone, obviously he did a really good job in the music video. Obviously, Casper's name won the music video, and is right now in a very good spot currently. And I don't see a scenario where he kind of messes that up. Like, I really don't, which makes me think jury. Like, honestly, a Rob third juror is pretty spot on. Rob third juror or Rob third placer is pretty spot on, Brien.
Yes.
Very high on Casper.
I could see it, but like, oh, sorry, Timmy, were you gonna say something?
I was gonna ask Madison if she saw the picture Livingston just posted.
No.
It's in the house chat.
We'll keep it that way.
What's the picture? Somebody send it to me.
That is kind of funny though.
He posted that on a Facebook comment somewhere first. I've already seen that, but it is hilarious.
Also, Timmy, why are you my left eyebrow?
Oh, I'm sorry.
Changes it to right eyebrow. I'm just curious.
Okay, but like back to Casper. So I think that Casper is doing well. He's doing great. I think he's obviously safe this round with. So Casper is safe. I think like time zones like is usually like an issue for me when I'm like doing cast reveals. I'm like, oh, time zones could really be a thing. But like these people, like Casper is like, because I don't know if it's because like this cast is just being more social and like they're awake at like the early dawn, but like Billy and Casper had a really good conversation for like 2 hours, like early in the morning. I think it was around like 8 or 9. But like if Casper's gonna keep like having these social connections, Casper can win comps. Like I think, Brien, I think like third or fourth place is where Casper would be right now, for me at least.
I love Casper, and I love the way that Casper is playing this game. I think it's perfect for this cast because Casper is getting away with making so many one-on-one connections and is not getting involved in any of these little groups that are getting tossed around. His name is not getting tossed around whatsoever. it's so iconic. Like I'm so excited to see how he does moving forward, because like I think he could. I definitely see third place. Like I agree with that narrative for him for sure, because I think it's gonna be so good. I just can't wait.
Anyone else have anything else to say on Casper? If that's a no, we can move on to the next person, which will be Lyndon. She is unfortunately on the block this round. However, I think, well, she's obviously going to take herself off should she win. Mike expressed interest in taking her off. And Ruthie was her house guest choice, and Ruthie told her she was going on the block. So they obviously have some rapport there. So I think that Lyndon, even if she remains on the block, which is highly likely with 3 people saying they're going to take her down, one including herself, obviously, then like she might come off. I wonder who the renown will be, but it won't be her problem at that point. And I think she can play under the radar and blend back in once she's off the block. I think, or even if she survives the block, I don't see her going round 1. I could be proven wrong. We'll see, but I think she's really nice and very likable. And I think her social game, like if she just tries, she can get people to like her and get people to want to work with her. And I hope that for her. I see her making it to like 9th, the jury stage, somewhere around there, early jury, maybe mid jury, not too much further than that. But I am rooting for her. She's a very, very nice person.
Yeah, I think Lyndon is doing well. Lyndon is someone I've like since like hosting and being on production team. She's someone I've wanted to like host for a while. Like she has such a nice energy, like that she brings. Like it's so positive. I like enjoy it. But like Brien, we can also see the flip side on that is like Billy and Megan have, like I said, expressed interest in saving Danny. So if noms stay the same, like there's a chance it could be someone like Lyndon getting the first boot, which I really don't want, because I think Lyndon has so much to show in this game. I think like Lyndon like is someone who like not only appreciates like orgs itself, but like also appreciates Disney. Like I think that she could do well if she gets out of this situation first round. And I think, like you said, like 9th or 8th is where I would see her like placing. So
LaMar Star, anything on Lyndon?
Before, why are you guys like this? Why is my left and right nostril in the chat? Y'all are
Where else are we supposed to be?
We're on your face. Duh.
Right there. We are the
I
Twin
see.
Quest.
We really are.
Jackson's nose.
We're talking about Lyndon, right?
yes.
I love Lyndon so much. I am nervous for this round, just depending on what happens with noms. I feel like if Lyndon doesn't like talk around and get in with someone, like I feel like all Lyndon needs to do is get in with one person, like one of the big names, and like that's all she needs, and she'll be good. She needs one person in her corner, like protecting her and being like, hey, I think Lyndon is good for us, like as a whole. Like whether it's like people with the returnees or like some of these other like groups that are kind of like subgroups that are starting to form. I think she'll be okay, but I'm a little nervous if she doesn't do that. But fingers crossed for Lyndon. I'm rooting for her.
If no one else has anything else to say on Lyndon, we can move on to the someone correct me if I'm wrong. We can move on to the next person regardless. But I believe that's all the newbies. Or am I missing some? We have to be missing some. But we can move on to Kevin, who coincidentally is on the block this week. He is the first of the returnees we will be talking about. Like at least we've mentioned the other ones before, but Kevin, I'm interested to see how he play. His Hollywood studio game was really fun for me. He was really a fun character. And I think Seb agrees with this, at least in the Hollywood Studios game, because he picked him as his favorite. I really enjoyed watching him. I'm interested to see how he'll do this season. So far, he got himself good with the HOH with John Farrell, at least to not be on the block. He said that they made some type of deal in this DR I did with him. And I'm hoping that like the Predator put him up and he automatically assumed it was Mike. which is bad, but like they talked it out maybe, and hopefully he can do some campaigning to stay. I'm not manifesting this or not rooting for this at all. I just think somehow, some way, Kevin's going to be first boot. I don't want it, but just the energy I got, you know.
Yeah. Oh, you're muted, so I guess I'm going. Yeah, it's not a manifestation. I think, okay, I'm gonna give like two scenarios. Like my more realistic scenario is I see him going first. I don't think he could get himself out of this mess, which really sucks to see a returnee who like I think like was, out of the four returnees, like was one of the two that made it to like close to the end. It would suck to see him get 16th, especially since he's expressed to me and other prod members how much he's wanted to play BB Disney again. And it's kind of upsetting to see like now it's like he has this opportunity and it might be over before he can even start it. But if he could get out of this mess, I know Kevin and I know the way he plays. If he can, I think for him, I can't even give another placement. It's all about who is HOH that round, because he is, from what he's told us, he's really good with some people, Ruthie, Lyndon, like the people who are on the block. The people who are on the block, Danny, he said he's like talked to Marcel a little, John F. Like he's mentioned he wanted to see what he could do with Julia. Like, but again, like the wrong person wins. Billy wins HOH, he's going up like as a like as a nom. Like if Mike, I don't know like the long-term effects of the fight that they had tonight, but if Mike wins HOH, there's a chance Kevin goes up. It's a week by week. I can't even predict a placement for Kevin at this point if it's not first. Boom, not first.
Yeah, first boot. Yeah.
No, I think Kevin is in a really interesting spot. I concur with the fact that like I really want to see Kevin do well because I know that Kevin has a lot of love for this series and we all have a lot of love for him and that's why we wanted to bring him back, is because I know that he really, really wants a second chance here. So I want to see him do well, but I'm nervous about this round. And see, the worst thing is like he's kind of blaming a lot of it on how many connections are in this cast, but then like he asks so many people to apply and like get so many people involved and whatever, so he kind of like ends up screwing himself in the process when he's like, oh wait, the friends I asked to apply are actually here. I'm shocked. So like I feel like that's kind of the position that he's in right now, and like I think some of the returnees are kind of a twist for him, I guess, but like I don't know. I hope he can get some footing here and kind of like shake Mike off a little bit, because I think if he can do that, then he can put himself back in a good position. But as long as like it's going to be Mike or Kevin that is able to get a little bit farther in this game, and I don't know which one it's going to be, but it can't be both. Unless people just really try to keep them both around as long as possible to keep that fight and that narrative going as long as possible.
I think you said something I was going to say, and it was like super spot on. I think they can't coexist with each other, Kevin and Mike. They could try. I mean, it's just the most obvious connection in the world right now. Like Mike is blowing up Kevin's game and then saying, "Hey, I'm sorry, Kevin. It won't happen again." But that doesn't change the fact that Kevin is on the block because of that fight. Because Billy's like, hey, this could be easily blamed on Mike. Obviously, it's unfortunate, but the connection is they're toxic towards each other. They're like in this game, they are toxic as fuck for each other. So if Kevin wants to have some kind of survivability in this round, win a veto. That's always helpful, but he also needs a person. They're just talking. Lyndon also needs a person. So if they could find out a way to get both of them safe this week, that could be a duo right there. Maybe throw John F. Well, actually, maybe not John F. because Lyndon, but I want to see Kevin make other connections that people aren't expecting. because I'm expecting Kevin to talk to Mike. I'm expecting Kevin to talk to Livingston. I'm expecting Kevin to talk to Julia. I want to see him talk to John Coffey. I want to see him talk to anybody that like. I just want better for him, but right now he's in a bad spot. It's a bad spot. Like, I see him going home this week if the Dom stay the same. I really do. So he needs to work to get out of this funk if he wants to stay. So let's figure out if he's going to do it or not.
Yeah, I got them in my head now. I went to the chat.
Yeah, I did too.
Right eyelash. My left eyelash said we missed some people.
Is that
Y'all
all
are too
we have
much.
to say on Kevin? If that's all we have to say on Kevin, I want to say something else on Kevin. Kevin is such a nice guy. I think that if he does survive this week, he can blend right back in. But I do feel bad that like him being the returner, I wonder if the narrative will be like, if he stays on the block, the narrative will be like, okay, let's take a shot at a returner, and Julia, Billy, and Ruthie won't have any say in the matter. Like that could be something, but I don't. With this cast, I don't see it. But there's a possibility it could happen. But yeah, I hope it doesn't.
Yeah. And I'm gonna add one more thing. I think Kevin played one of Kevin's best games was his original season of BB Disney. I've not seen him replicate it since, and it's because he always ends up being on cast with Mike, Allie, Jazzy, even Jen. Like, those are the main four. Like, he played such an amazing game. Like, not amazing, but he played really well in Hollywood Studios because he was able to make new connections with Sam, Jonathan, like all of those people. And so like
Andy.
if there's a chance, yeah, exactly. If there's a chance that Mike, if he could stay this round and then Mike goes, like I'm not saying like Mike needs to go, but the best thing for Kevin's game could be Mike going. But again, he has to survive this round.
That's the only qualm. I guess Prod was proved right that we had with casting Mike this season. It's like, was Kevin coming back, and like vice versa with Kevin and Mike? It's like, and I guess we're being proven right, but they both can't coexist in this game. It's like one of them's gonna have their head chopped off, and Kevin looks like. Did you say something like that, LaMar? I think so. But yeah,
I was gonna say if Kevin, like going on what Seb said, like, oh yeah, probably the best thing for Kevin's game is to vote out Mike. I said, not again.
I didn't
Not
say
again.
I didn't say that he had to vote off Mike. I'm just saying that Mike going is good for his game.
But it's kind of like, oh, not again.
I mean, like, look at CTC. Like, Kevin went because of his connection with Allie and Mike. Kevin left in YTS because of his close, like, he did super well for a while in YTS because he didn't have Allie or Jazzy on the same tribe with him. And it was honestly just a swap that screwed him. Like, he does well in games that he's not, like, totally thrust into with some of his closer friends. So,
no, for sure.
I completely concur. And if for the second time, if no one else has anything to say on Kevin, we can move on to the next person who I would like to talk about, Harry, right now. Harry is somebody who I watched. He sent like 3 confessionals already, like 20 minutes worth. And I was entertained throughout all of it, honestly. I enjoyed listening to his thoughts and getting his perspective. And he is funny, quirky, and I think he can get people on the side to want to see him want to see him do well and want to work with him. And I hope that that's what happens for him. I don't know if his physical game, I've never seen him win competitions, but his strategic mind seems right in a social game. He knows how to separate personal and game. And I think he has to do that with knowing as many people as he does on this cast.
So Harry is really good at like social comps. Like I've seen him win touchy subjects. Like I'm just going off the comps that I've seen him win in Prestige, since that's the only work we can go off. Like he won touchy subjects. Like he was able, like he's good with the social comps. Like he can go far in those, but like his physical comps like obviously aren't the best. But you know, we were very skeptical. For those who were watching, Harry was an alternate because we were skeptical about Harry and Lake. But they're doing a good, like Harry is doing a good job at like playing their own game. Like Lake is trying to focus on his connection with Julia and his connection with Livingston, Billy, like these people. Harry is going out and talking to people and making insightful game decisions. Like I don't know how well Harry does in BB because like he's only mentioned that he's played Big Brother games on 10 gauge, but I can see him winning. Like just off the bat, like I could see him doing super well and like getting to a point where like he right now he's like under the radar, but like he has the connections with all the people who aren't. Like he could do well strategy wise. I know that he could do well social. I know that. Like Harry is someone I could see like sitting at the end and being able to articulate his game. Yeah, I could see like Harry winning. That's like
To kind of sorry to go again, but you said Harry and Lake have a connection, but Harry specifically said in his chat that Lake is not his final two, which I found super interesting, and I love that for Harry. Not that I'm rooting against Lake, but it's like I don't want them to be specifically final two because of friends.
Yeah.
I really enjoyed On Call the other night. I don't know if it's recorded or if anyone else, I don't remember if anyone else was there, but they had a call and they were talking about who they touched base with, and Harry or one of them said like, well, you didn't touch base with me, and it was like, oh, I don't have to touch base with my best friend. It was very funny. And so I think they're not really taking the game too seriously, but they are like, I mean, they're clearly like using each other to their advantage, but they're not so set in stone on like final twoing with each other that it's gonna like mess up either of their games. Harry might be my winner pick. Low key, I could really see Harry doing well here. I wholeheartedly agree with that. Like everything Seb said, like I could see him getting to the end. I could see them doing so well. So like I really hope the best for them 100%.
I really like that winner pick for you. I think Harry at the moment, from what I've seen, is like top 10, top 5 socially, and probably like top 3 in terms of strategy. Like everything, like first of all, this week so far has gone perfectly. Like Harry knows who was the predator. Harry knows what the noms were gonna be, I think. It's not him or it's not anybody he's like particularly close with. And he's like said in his confessionals, obviously he's sent quite a few confessionals, so we kind of know what's going on in his brain right now. But yeah, everything seems to be working out for him in a strategic mindset, and it's putting himself in a great position. You know, he's making connections with some people that don't have connections. He's existing with people with a lot of connections, which is just enough to, you know, keep him in good favor, you know? Sometimes the best strategy is just to be there and not do anything. And that's what Harry's doing, and he's kind of making it work while making it work in other ways. And I think I love his position. Like that's as a player, that's a dream position right there. So I really do like Harry's spot.
Does anyone else have anything to say on Harry? Speak now, forever hold your peace. Without further ado, we will talk about Miss Tree of Life herself, Megan Humphreys.
Megan is a queen. She's an icon.
Y'all forgot about Megan? I'm offended. Y'all really forgot about Megan.
No,
I
Brien
didn't
forgot about Megan.
I'm pretty high right now, so forgive me, Megan. I'm sorry.
He also didn't necessarily forget. I think Brian's just been going in whoever he thinks of next.
Yeah.
No, I was until like I told y'all when I was, and then I went to my laptop.
Anyways, Megan is a queen icon.
Megan is so good.
She was part of the winning video. She was able to get the Tree of Life power, which literally stops a whole eviction. Like she could be on the block and she'd be like, no, sorry, not today. Like, she's doing well. Like people want to work with her, and it's just a matter of who she chooses to work with. Like Billy has mentioned, he wants to work with Megan. Like Megan was one of the first people that he told he won the Tree of Life power to, or no, that he won the Predator power. Like Livingston has openly said, Megan is someone I want to work with. Megan is someone who doesn't play a lot of orgs. So because of that, when she's in an org, people gravitate to her more and they want to work with her because they know like, hey, Megan doesn't usually play orgs often. Like, let's take the opportunity while we can to work with her, and it's working for her. Like, people are going to her, and she's and then on top of that, Megan is great at comp. She's good socially. She's good strategically. But I see her getting cut like mid jury because like it's quote unquote a big move. Like that's what I see. Like I see like people finding out about the Tree of Life power and it's just putting a target on her back. Even when she like cuts the first eviction, it's like, oh, there's a second one that she could go up on. Like
I was gonna say for Megan getting the Tree of Life power, I think is probably one of the people on this cast that really meshes well with. As in, I think she could really use this power to advantage because she is one of the better competition threats of the season. You know, she may strike out twice on the HOH, then the veto, get nominated. Oops, I'm gonna restart the whole round and I'm gonna try that again and probably win it because now I have a feel for the competition, et cetera, et cetera. She's capable of doing that, and I think that bodes well for her getting this power because I really do think like it's like perfect for her at the moment. You know, she can make it work really well. Like she is really well connected. She is very strategically sound at the moment. She had a lot of praise from their music video, which obviously won, which gets her nice little group there. And I could see her jury like mid to fourth place. Like it's tough. I don't know. I say fourth place because I said Casper was gonna be third. I don't know who's gonna be second. I have my winner pick. But I feel like she's gonna make it far. But I feel like she's gonna get cut because, well, same reason as my left eyelash said. It's a prize fish. You know, it's like I cut Megan. Like that's so good for my game right there. You know, it's like she's a prize fish. She's like people are gonna see her to be like, I want to take her down. It's gonna look so good on me. And if she can shed that, then she's a winner pick. But
I was wondering
it's
if
interesting.
I was wondering if she can like minimize her threat level because coming into this game, at least from my perspective, she comes in with a huge threat level. People like think of her as a great player, and she is, but like all about like she got to minimize that to the best of her ability. Like I think she should be throwing comps at the beginning, like not wanting to win them unless she's in danger, unless she really feels she's in danger. Like that's just what I would do if I was in her position. I think like she has the mind to do that. I think minimizing her threat level is going to be key, and to like not be a target like early on.
If she does that, that's a winner pick. Like that's a legitimate winner if she can minimize her threat level. Like straight up by quite a bit.
No, for sure. I've seen Megan do really, really well before, and I think I could see her do really, really well here. The fact that like not only is she working with so many people, but like people are honored to be chosen to work with Megan. Like that is the attitude that people are giving in their prod chats. Like Livingston was forwarding the messages of like Megan was like, you know what? I've decided you're working with me. And Livingston was just like, oh my God, like, I can't believe, like, Megan is okay with me. Like, Megan doesn't want to go after me. What the heck? Like, this is so crazy. Like, and so many people have that attitude. And, like, she's just charming everybody and getting on everybody's good side. So I agree. Like, if she can, like, get past that point where people are going to want to just target her because she's the big name, getting the Rachel edit, if you will, I think she can like really push past it. And like I also know she's really good at comp, so she can win out, I think, to some degree, like at some point. So I would not count her out as a winner at all either.
I originally had her at second place, and my reasoning was because I thought that she'd be play such a good game, they would have a better jury against her or something to that degree. But like if she continues, it's only week one, but if she continues to play as socially and as strong as she is, these people will be like, the jury will be like, okay, she's in the final two. I'm just going to want her to win. You don't need to speak other finalists. You can just have the win, Megan. So that's what I see for her if she makes it to the end. If she keeps up the style of gameplay she's been playing so far, I've been really impressed. if no one else has anything else to say on Queen Megan herself, Jackson's left nostril, you've not spoken for a while.
Am I the left one?
You are the left one. I'm the right. Oh no, I'm the right eyelash.
I'm the right now.
Oh, my apologies. I always get us confused.
I do too.
We're
I don't
twins,
know.
if y'all didn't know. I think Harry's playing a really good game. What has Harry done?
What?
Wait, what?
Oh, we were talking about Megan, I think.
We were
a
talking
little
about
past that.
Oh, I was watching TikToks. I'm so sorry.
we're talking about Megan.
Megan's a queen. I don't have a list of winner to loser pick, but Megan's winning. Someone's gonna be. I feel like Megan's gonna get through about half the game, and then someone's gonna be like, "Oh, time to take." Like, I heard someone talking about fish, and someone said, "Oh, let's get a big fish." Then she's gonna be like, "LOL, tree of life power," and then
LOL, tree of life power.
yeah, and then like Megan can be a comp beast, and that's when Megan will turn it on. Like Megan has a free pass to make it halfway, and then turn on her comp beast in the middle of the game. So Megan's winning. Period.
Timmy, you had me confused. I was like, "Are we really? Was I just imagining speaking about Megan? Is she that iconic? Was it just like in my head?"
I literally was Snapchatting and TikToking, so I do apologize.
Oh, it's okay. It's not even an issue.
We breathe more out of the right nostril. You heard that? That's what it sounds like when the left nostril breathes.
I just don't know.
Y'all are too much.
Jackson's 5 head. Hi.
Hi, I am Jackson's 4-head, but it's actually just a 5-head.
I don't want to derail this too much. If no one else has anything to say on Megan, I would like to move on to Mikey, the next player, who I like him a lot. I do. But if someone else wants to take the floor with him.
Sad.
Mikey is one of my favorite people I have played. I've never played with Mikey actually, but one of my favorite people I've hosted in this game and Room Limit. I think he's just probably one of the best people I've hosted. He's one of my favorite. Like, he's amazing to host. He has a great social gameplay. Mikey's problem is that like he works a lot and that causes inactivity. But he's doing good right now. Like he has that tight, like I think Mikey asked it to be a final 2 of Mikey and Billy, called
Panic, right?
Panic and
Pain and Panic, right?
Pain and Panic, the Hercules characters, which is cute. I think it's a good spot for him right now. He has those connections coming in. I just, the perception with working with Billy, as someone who has worked with Billy before, is that you could be perceived as a goat or someone who is just like riding coattails. And I don't want that to be Mikey, especially when Mikey's whole game is reliant on social gameplay and not so much strategic. So it's going to be hard for him to get out of it. I see Mikey making jury at least. Like, I don't see any doubt that Mikey gets pre-jury unless it's like an inactivity issue. But he's also like, he's working well with Billy and Billy's working well with like everyone. So like, we're going to see where we can go, but I can see Mikey making at least jury at least.
I am very excited to talk about Billy in just a second, but I mean, Mikey, I haven't seen too much, but he has like not come up too much on anybody's radar. Like you said, like that final 2/1-on-1 connection. Shout out Hercules, good movie. Like he's making like those like awesome connections that people like are affected by, like I want to have all my one-on-one chats be like creative and thought-provoking like that, that just proves that you're thinking about me, you're putting thought into this relationship, like into this one-on-one chat. It's cute. It works, honestly. So I'm excited to see how he does with competitions. I know he could win a little bit. I know he could play a little bit. I want to know how he could do against like the Vance Pantses and the. Okay, bye, left nostril. Oh, now I just have one nostril. Anyways, the Vance Pantses, the Megans, and literally anybody. I want to see how he competes with them. So I think he has something to prove, but I think he can do it.
I wonder, like, when he gets into like, if he ever gets into a position of power, what will he like do? We know, like, will he have the foresight to make what the best strategic move is for his game, or will he just get manipulated by his allies? And maybe they're being loyal to him, but they're gonna have him do their bidding. So I can really like see him being like a puppet. I don't want to say that for him, but like I want him not to be that puppet. I want him to like stab the backs of people who are trying to manipulate him. Yes, said. And Mikey, I want to see him do well. I'm thinking maybe fourth, somewhere around them lines. I believe in him a lot. I like him. I think his social game can carry him far. And even if he's manipulated, people might see a use for him to be used. Then like, no, they'll want to carry him, I think.
I don't know Mikey very well, but I really, really enjoy Mikey's like energy and just like what he's bringing to the game so far. And I think he's putting himself in a good position. I agree with everything that everyone else has said. I don't want to repeat it all, but like stand Mikey and hope to see him get at least into the jury.
Welcome, Jackson Front Tooth.
I will say this though, Danny and Mikey be an iconic duo. I would love to see those two work together and see if they could do anything. They're on two different teams right now, but like, I want that. That's my prediction. Like, that's gonna happen before they both get out. I hope, at least.
I would dig that duo. I would. So if no one else has anything to say on Mikey, I would like to move on to the next person. And Jackson, since you mentioned Billy, and I'm going to torture you a little bit, I'm going to go to Ruthie. Let's talk about Ruthie.
I hate Mike. I hate Brien. Excuse me.
Ruthie's an icon. So I played with Ruthie in my season of Big Brother Disney. We're having her back. She's an icon, a queen. It's like when I played with her originally, I did not understand the Ruthie hype. I went to the jury and they were like, "Hey, if Ruthie makes the end, we're gonna vote for her." And I was like, "Why?" But like watching, like playing with her in CTC and being able to like see her game up front, especially now, like a year after, like almost a year after the original season of BB Disney, it's like so cool to see like Ruthie's social game really come into play. Like I didn't think it was all that impressive, but like watching it firsthand and like the people that just gravitate towards Ruthie's like astonishing. I thought like, well, like preseason Ruthie was being very inactive with us, like so I thought, oh no, like this is gonna be Ruthie's game, but she's like going in hard, like she is like super active when she can be. Like she put a lot of effort into that music video to make sure it was like at least presentable. Like Ruthie's doing good, and I know like Ruthie has a strategical mind because I've seen it like in CTC. It's just a matter of, will Ruthie get the power to make those strategical moves, or like is it gonna be another thing where like people just like take her there because she can't win any comps? I love Ruthie to death, and I could definitely see her going the same way. Like I could see her getting third or like second.
I can really like agree with you. Her game in Magic Kingdom was underrated in my opinion. Like she was gonna win and she made it to the end more than likely. And she can play the role of, oh shucks, I'm just like the nice person. I won't stab you in the back while stabbing you in the back. And she'll send it to the jury and then they'll like her while she's stabbing them in the back. I do like her, and her social game is swell. It's a like really top tier in my opinion. Like you can't not like Ruthie. Like you can't say a bad thing about her. So I feel like if she's on the block against most people, she'll probably stay.
I kind of
That's
agree
the
with
only thing I
that.
worry about Ruthie is, sorry, Jackson. That's the only thing I worry about Ruthie is her potentially turning into a pawn this season, especially like a returnee pawn. Like that's the issue. I think she comes into this with a target because she's a returnee, that it might become an issue just based on the fact that people are, she's just going to be an easy person to put up because she's a returnee and she's nice. And like I don't think she'll go, because I think you're right, like her social game is there. I think she can connect with people, but I also don't see her necessarily connecting with the right people. Like, I'm glad to see her connecting with Kevin and stuff like that, but I really think she needs to get on board with some people like Livingston, Julia, Billy, someone in that kind of realm.
You stole my point, but it's okay. It's okay. No, I'm not upset. I'm not upset.
I'm sorry. Your brain's in
Ruthie,
your front tooth today.
yeah, I guess so. I guess so. Nah, Ruthie is just all around like the nice person. Like she's gonna probably become the shield, aka the pawn. Just because no one's gonna wanna. Oh, I know Seb doesn't like it, but as a player, that's exactly what I'm thinking. Um, Ruthie, I also agree. Needs to make a better social connections. I would like to pitch to her maybe our Casper, another person that's fairly well liked. You know, those are two people that could have like a pretty good network together. Um, maybe a Lake because she doesn't have, you know, she's probably not the most outspoken person in the world, and Lake is probably the most outspoken person in the world, and that's like a duo no one expects.
I was gonna say, like, if Ruthie and Lake become a thing in this game, I might just like go away because that's too crazy for me. Like,
That's
but
honestly why I suggested it, because no
but-
one's gonna expect it and to be
That'd be so
amazing.
funny.
but you,
That'd be awesome.
Jackson, you also bring up a point though, is like, so Ruthie is good with Lyndon, and Lyndon said in her project that she was starting to get close with Casper. So maybe there is a chance that Ruthie and Casper beat up in the game, and that can happen.
I honestly think Casper's like a perfect fit, honestly. Lake is an interesting fit, but
Oh my god, if Ruthie and Casper team up to save Lyndon this round,
well, the
scream.
VL will go absolutely berserk, honestly.
Screams.
Everyone's screaming.
We're,
That would be
we're
awesome.
writing Animal Kingdom fan fiction at this point. Who knows what?
Not that.
Well, I think Ruthie will always be underrated, regardless of how she does in the season. Like, even if she wins, she'll still find a way to be underrated. So, if no one else has anything else to say on Ruthie, we can move on to the next person I would like to talk about, Julia, the next attorney.
So Julia is this season, like last season she played, she was the inactive queen. This season she's totally turned that around. Like, this is the only org she's playing. She's mentioned multiple times in her prod chat that she's turned games down to play this one. And I'm hoping that like that works to her benefit. She's doing super well socially. Like, it's so weird because like I remember Mikey and Kevin having both really the same conversation in their prod chats, being like, oh, in Prestige, I tried to work with Julia, but she voted me out, but I'm gonna try it again. And I was like, why? Like I get it, every game is different, but like that's not how you start the conversation. It's like, hey, they voted me out before and I tried working with them, but I'm going to try it again. Like, if you know how sneaky Julia is going to be, then why are you going to do it? I could see Julia making jury like easily in this cast. Like, if like, especially since like all the people we've been talking about, like, are going to go pre-jury are kind of working with Julia in some way so far. Like, Mike has a good connection with Julia because they've always wanted to play together. John Farrell and Julia are obviously close. Like, it's just a matter of having those people in front of her to make sure that they go before she does, because obviously she has the target of being a returnee, winning the music video challenge, like being Julia and herself. She knows like Julia can win comps. She's good socially. She's good strategically. And I think Julia is going to become like a Megan, like a fish that you need to get out. Like, I think like, and I'll go a little more into Billy after, but I think she is the returnee to get out in this game so far. Like,
She
Julia-
really did direct her team's music video really well, I might add. Sorry to cut you off, Madison.
No, I'm sorry I cut you off, but no, she killed the music video. You're right. Like, she has one of the best like strategic minds in this community that I have ever played with. like on a like player to player perspective, like Julia is incredible when she's really like thinking about the game and thinking through things. The issue is if she's going to be too open about that with the wrong people that will take that as a threat, because like that is a very easy trap to fall into, and she really needs to minimize her threat level here, because otherwise she's going to get screwed. But I don't have necessarily like a winner pick, but it's between Harry, Meghan, and Julia. Julia is definitely up there for me in terms of somebody that I want to see win and that I think absolutely has everything in it to win it.
Yeah, no, she is a fish. Like, there's only a few of them. She's one of them. She's a big fish. Because like, who doesn't know about Julia fucking Rowe? Like, everyone knows like this is, well, not everyone knows, but a good majority of people know that this is her only org right now. And saying that like a couple months ago, it's kind of like shocking because she did go on those like multi-org runs. But like, she's here to play, and she's already starting to play. She's already making a lot of good one-on-one connections. Julia Rowe has got to go. If some of these people want to win, yes, but she could honestly run circles around a lot of these people, like socially, strategically, and physically. Like you say, jack of all trades, master of none. She's jack of all trades, master of
Everything.
Most, I would say most, but
She has to have a Achilles heel somewhere.
she does. I do. I do think she has an Achilles heel somewhere, but will it be is it easily discoverable? I don't know. Will people kind of catch on to her? Who knows? She's just really good at what she does. Maybe her Achilles heel is that everyone knows that she's really good at what she does. So I'm gonna see how much that takes her. And after a certain point in the game, I wonder when people in their VLs are gonna start going like, "Holy fuck, Rowe's still in here. That's not good." Like
But, like,
that's the day.
what you said earlier, that like it to get for some of these people to win, they got to get her out, and I agree with you. But also, that could be the scariest thing to do it for these people, for these particular players, because you say Julia's name, she's not going to be forgiving. She's going to come for you wholeheartedly. You're her number one target. You've got to go. And more often than not, Julia does not fail where she tries to do anything. Epcot was an exception. She was not active too much in that, but I am supporting Julia this season.
As somebody who played Epcot, she wasn't in that season. She didn't try, but that's because she was going on else like other things that are happening. So that I understand. Obviously, if you want to win, you have to get Julia out because she's just another player. But I mean that in like, if some people leave Julia for too long and target her at the wrong time where it's too late, they're not going to get the votes to get her out. Someone else is going to be the target. And like getting her out like swiftly and like with like minimal blood on your hands is so fucking particular, because she is a huge name. Like you said, she will come after you, and she's gonna bring people to kick you in the shins until you're out. And that's what makes her dangerous. She has a cult. Julia Rowe stands are a fucking cult, and if she can find those cult members in this game, she's gonna go far. But like I said, it's a tedious process to get her out, and I'm wondering who's gonna do it. I'm curious to see who's gonna do that.
Even if she's on the block at some point, if they don't go for a back door of her, like she can win the veto as easily as anybody else. Her competition prowess is not to be laughed at.
No, exactly.
I could talk all night about how good Julia is strategically in games, but if no one else has anything else to say on Julia, I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, please, this is the last member of the cast. Jackson LaMar, would you like to start with Sir Billy?
Sir Vance Pants himself is my winner pick. He is okay. So I've known Billy for a little bit, since I'm not the most well-connected person in his community. Billy is somebody I've heard about through names. I've heard like about his game. I played an org with him, Room Limit, and I know what his downfalls were. I know like what made him lose, and he's not showing that right now. he's making those social connections. He is a horrible social player. Well,
I have words.
he's making.
We'll wait.
I know
We'll
you
let
have. I know you
go
have
first.
words, but
Yeah,
he's
I'll let you
I wouldn't
finish.
say he's a. I'm not saying. I guess I shouldn't say he's a horrible social player, but there's a lot of times where he just doesn't talk to much of anybody. I think he's proving himself to be a little more sociable this game. Not only was he the predator, he's made connections with Mikey. He's made connections with Casper. He's making like some of these little chats too, if I'm not mistaken. And I already said he won predator, and he's like strategically already there. He's already made like a really good move this season, like putting up Kevin. Like, I mean, is it a little obvious like to do so? Yeah, but at least he made the move. And honestly, I think his head's on a little bit. Like, I know some of you guys have some words to say about Vance, but
No, I just want to say
I
one
think
thing.
his
That
head's on.
Kevin didn't even suspect Billy for being the predator, which was like shocking to me. Like, that's all I want to say on that. But like, why?
Getting
Yeah,
away
I
with
mean,
murder.
if Kevin goes home this week, it is straight up poetic justice because Kevin was HOH when Billy left in their original season. So, Billy confuses me. His game is really like confusing me, and I think this is what Madison was gonna say. Like, I think on a surface level, he's doing great. Like you said, like he's talking to people, he's making groups, he's informing certain people about the predator power and telling them to shut up, basically. But on the other hand, he's telling people unnecessary information. So, like today, he was on a call with Megan. He was telling Megan about the 4 people who played room limit with him. He was telling Megan about how there might be a room limit level up group. Like, he was telling Megan about.
Yeah, he was telling Megan about the returnees all being together, which Megan is not a returnee. Why is he sitting here? Like, he's like, yeah, I think all the returnees are planning to look out for each other. And she's just sitting there, like, blinking, basically on call. I was just like, this is like, it's just not looking good with the information that he's telling. Like, there's no reason
Yeah.
to overshare this much in the first round. And I'm like, this is literally what got Billy pre-jury last time. Is this overplaying and trying to, like, because he feels like no one talking to him means that no one likes him, but really, like, he's having these conversations and people were saying that they felt good with Billy, but now he's overplaying it, and I feel like he's gonna get targeted.
There was a comment I put in the prod chat earlier. When Billy does good things, bad things come out of it. When Billy does bad things, good things come out of it. Like, Billy really wants, from his prod chat, it seems like he really wants to work with Julia. But like, turn over to Julia's prod chat, which she said yesterday, saying, I don't trust Billy. And we have like a conflicting interest. On top of that, Billy is trying to work with Julia when Livingston's also trying to work with Julia. Like, you have that dead end where like Julia's gonna have to choose between one of them, and it seems like she's gonna choose Livingston. Like, Billy had told Megan on call that he wanted that the returnees were looking out for each other, and then a few minutes later said, I would put up Kevin if I won the Predator comp. So that to me also makes no sense. Like, Billy's doing great on paper, but I don't. It's a game that's going to get him the same placement he got last time, which is 11th.
I want to say it's kind of interesting that we started with Livingston, I believe, if correct me if I'm wrong, but then we ended with Billy, and they're both like best friends, but they're not really communicating that much this game, at least not yet. Which I'm really interested to see. Like, I've seen Billy played Hollywood Studios, got pre-jury, wasn't the best game for him, but also seen him get second in a Big Brother game that I played with him. So I know he has the potential to play really well if he just gets people on his side to, like, if he gets the right people that like he'll trust, and then they won't backstab him, and like he can ride with them, and he doesn't do anything too crazy. He doesn't get in his mind too crazy, and just rides with a group. He can make it pretty far and potentially have the ability to win with that other group potentially getting picked off. But besides, he just needs to minimize his threat level. Calm down. Yeah.
It's like the people he wants to work with don't want to like put their full trust into him, but the people he's like very iffy on are the people who are going in their prod chats and being like, I really want to work with Billy. Billy's someone I feel super good with. Like, I just don't understand it. like
Is
at
his read
all.
on the game maybe?
I don't know because Billy usually has a decent read on the game. Like in Hollywood Studios, he had an amazing read on the game until like last second. But here's my thing as well. Billy told Julia about the Predator advantage stuff.
He told about
And it-
6 people about it, right?
He told too many people about it, in my opinion. But he told Megan, Mikey, and Julia in separate chats, and then went to the whole his whole team and told them.
He's trusting
And-
his team way too much.
He's putting a lot of trust into people who aren't going to put trust back in him. But Billy's
All it takes is like 2 people that he told to talk and
that's
to be like, this might have been something he was putting trust in me. If he only told me, great, but he's telling you, that lowers the value of it.
no, that's what I was saying. So like he tells Julia, and if Julia feels more comfortable with Livingston, she's going to tell Livingston. And Billy told Livingston he didn't win it. So it's that right there. If that happens, like he's done. Like there's no way that Billy could really recover, especially since like Livingston is a lot more of a social player. And Billy has said this even in his pregame chat. Like if Livingston and Billy hit the block together, Billy's gonna go because people see Billy as a bigger threat, or they see him as more extendable. And then there's people like Casper who want to put a lot of faith into Billy, but Billy is very hesitant about it. So it's like Billy's read on who he wants to work with is like very off at the moment, at least. And if it doesn't change, I just see him getting like 12th or 11th.
He's walking a tightrope game, he is, because with trusting this many people, the one thing happens, one blow with the wind, he's gone. So it's like, it's risky. It's
But-
risky.
Yeah. Does anyone else have anything to say about Vance, Billy?
I love Wawa Willie. I hope he does well, but
Well,
it's just not going too well for him right now. If he can calm the fuck down, I wish him the best.
it seems like LaMar believes in him through and through, and if he ends up winning the season, LaMar can rub it all in our faces and be like, haha.
Well, I mean, so I think so him telling Megan about the whole returnees looking out for each other, like if like you could take it 2 ways. If you're Megan, you could take like, okay, why are you telling me this? Why are you guys looking out for each other? Or in Megan's shoes, like, wow, Billy just told me something that probably is happening, but something he's not interested in keeping, which then Billy then backs up by putting up Kevin because Megan knows that Billy's a predator. And so I get that, like, that might seem confusing, but I'm Megan saying, okay, so Billy's not interested in returnees working together, so that's good information for me to know. But maybe like the other 3 are working together, and that's like target city for Megan.
But I also mean like they changed their one-on-one name to Villains Incorporated. So I would not be shocked if like Megan takes it as like Billy is turning on the returnees, like when in actuality, like Billy could be all serious about keeping the returnees safe. It's just Kevin he doesn't want in this game.
Again, all of which are good reasons. Which is why I think he's got options. I think his game is set up where he could take a lot of different routes. Like, I know it looks like it's kind of rough at the moment, like with the route that he's taking. But if he has like the awareness that I know he does, and kind of make an adjustment here and there, because you guys do mention that like he's a little rough around the edges at the moment. I think his options are pretty vast at the moment. He does have to calm down, and if he calms down, I think he could do it. I honestly think he could.
Awesome. Does anyone else have anything to say?
No.
Okay, if no one has anything else to say, this has been the BB Disney Animal Kingdom cast assessment. We've finally finished up. Again, I want to thank Jackson, one of our after show hosts, for joining us today. And of course, want to thank the amazing Madison Kimry for joining, of course, And then
Thank you for joining, so.
Oh, mwah. And thank you, Billy, Timmy, and Maynor for also showing up. We
Who?
love them. They're
Who?
twins.
Who?
I didn't know Billy showed up.
Oh my
Billy
god, I
was
said
here?
I didn't know Billy was
I
here.
meant to. Oh my god, I am so tired.
It is
I
1
meant
o'clock in the
I said
morning.
I meant to say like Timmy and Brien, and it came off as Billy.
Brilly, Billy,
Really?
Really,
nice.
I want to think.
It's
I want
all
to think.
good. It's
I
1
want to.
o'clock in the morning.
Yeah.
We deserve to go to bed.
And with that, I'm gonna stop the recording. Thank you all for watching, and I hope that the people who are in the game aren't so mad at us when they get out. Love y'all. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.